You guys are used to seeing this part of my office. This is my studio space where I do all of my recording and editing, live show, etc. Today's not about this half of my office. It's about what's on this side of the camera. And we're gonna put something together that I've wanted for a very long time. So this is the desk space, in some need of cable management now that I'm looking at it from a little bit different angle, but we'll get to that another day. We're gonna spin over here. That is my liquor cabinet that came from downstairs when I moved my office. We're also not too concerned with that today, although I might dig into it later. What we're gonna look at today is over here behind this mirrored closet door. And this is my FreeNAS server that I built back in January, and it is sat at the bottom of this server closet, I guess you can call it, neglected since I built it. So that is the exact same server that I built back in January for my FreeNAS tutorial. You can click right up there if you want to see that. And honestly, the server's been running just fine since then. And in fact, that X79 Hunon motherboard has been running for almost 2 years, 24/7. So if longevity was a question in your mind, I haven't had any issues with it. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about upgrading and organizing the server space so I can actually use it. And honestly, I'm running out of space on this server, so we're gonna kill two birds with one stone here. Starting with a 27U 4-post server rack, something that I have always wanted in my house. We're also going to be completely rebuilding my FreeNAS server pretty much from scratch. New motherboard, new CPU, new RAM. We're going from 6 terabytes of storage up to 24 terabytes of storage because these videos take a lot of my home server space. We're also gonna be putting in a brand new networking switch, possibly moving over to 10 gig to the FreeNAS server, later to expand that over to my desktop over here. Quite a few other little changes coming, but I'm excited. Let's get to work and let's do this thing. For those paying super close attention to the time lapse, you might have noticed me grab my tape measure and go back and forth between the rack and the closet quite a few times. And for those who have their volume all the way up, you might have just heard me swear. So, reason being is when I bought this rack, it's a 24-inch minimum depth rack that is depth adjustable, so I can set how far apart I want the front legs from the back legs to be. Now, my closet is 31 inches deep, so I thought I would have had plenty of clearance even with the feet added, because when you buy a rack, you buy it front post to rear post, not total depth. So, thought I was gonna have plenty of room. As it turns out, the total depth of the rack, fully assembled with the feet on it, is 32 inches, not 31 inches. So, I don't think I'm quite defeated yet. My closet door is on a set of tracks, and they are not fully bolted to the floor. So I think I'm gonna be able to actually slide the rack back into the closet and slide the foot underneath the closet door track and hopefully still be able to get it to close. We're gonna try that. No idea if it's gonna work. I hope I'm not literally out of luck because this is gonna be insanely expensive to ship back if I have to, which means it's probably gonna be not worth shipping back, which means I'm gonna have to put it down in the garage and have my wife yell at me for having yet another thing in the garage that I don't need. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And that is what we call a success around here. As you can see, the rack is installed in the closet and the door even closes. So definitely dodged a bullet on that one. Next phase in the project is going to be putting together my 4U rack mount server with the brand new hard drives, new board, etc. I've got a 2U APC UPS unit that's going to go into here. I've got the new network switch. I've got a 1U server for some other uses. I've also got my 17-inch LCD console. So phase 2, here we go. Fitment issue number 2 for the day, and this one's going to be a little bit more difficult to solve. My Harper 212 Evo, I really wanted to use in this system because it's inexpensive, it's a high airflow, and it just kind of works. And you can see the wind tunnel effect that I've got going on here with all of the fans pushing back directly onto this cooler. It was going to work fantastic. Unfortunately, it's slightly too tall. So I'm going to have to find another cooler to work in this case, and I have no idea which. Maybe my Scythe Biaco will work. I'm gonna try that. Yeah, this one, the one that you guys all complained about that I was sticking up out of the power supply exhaust instead of out of the back exhaust in the case that didn't have rear exhaust fans. You guys really need to learn about thermodynamics. Anyway, yeah, I think this cooler will work just fine. It's basically a miniature version of the Hyper 212, made by Scythe, still a nice high airflow cooler. I should be able to point it right out the back of this case. Unfortunately, I need to take the board back out of the case now and clean it off and reapply thermal paste, and then we can get back to where we're at right now. And unfortunately, this turned into kind of a two-part episode. I'm kind of at a stopping point here. A couple of things that I don't have. I don't have enough rack screws to mount my UPS unit, and a couple other things that I wanted to put in here. I also am missing one of my mini SAS to break out SATA cables for my HBA RAID card, so I can't connect all of the new hard drives in the new system. But I did manage to get everything rack mounted that I really wanted to. I've got my 17-inch LCD console here. I've got my brand new Switch, not hooked up yet, but that'll be configured another day. Obviously the server, and then this guy is actually going to serve a secret purpose for this rack, and that'll be revealed here in the next couple of weeks. So what all did I end up putting in the system? For starters, I went ahead and used an Intel i3-8100 quad-core processor, and the reason I went down from an 8-core 16-thread to just a 4-core 4-thread is I'm actually going to be pulling my virtual machines off of this box and running them on another machine. A couple of reasons for that, and I'll get into that in a later video when I do that build. I kept the memory capacity in the server the same, although we did move from DDR3 to DDR4. So I've got 32 gigs of DDR4 2400 running in here. The base install for FreeNAS recommends 8 gigabytes of RAM, and then they recommend 1 gigabyte per terabyte of storage that you're going to be using. I do have six terabyte HGST drives in this system that are going to be running in a ZFS 2 for essentially 24 terabytes of storage. So I've got 24 gigs of RAM plus 8 gigabytes for the base install. All those drives are connected to an HP H240 host bus adapter, and I've also got a Mellanox 10 gig card in there that I will be wiring up to my EdgeSwitch 48 as soon as I get that fired up. Now this does have two SFP Plus connections in it. One of them is going to feed the server, the other is going to feed out to my desk here and power my Threadripper and also my my streaming PC. So I am working on a low-cost 10 gig desk switch for that setup. And unfortunately, this is where we're gonna leave this video. Again, I'm just kind of at a stopping point. I don't have the mini SAS cable to connect my HBA to my second bank of hard drives. I don't even have FreeNAS installed on here, so no benchmarks, no throughput data, no tutorial on how to transfer from one FreeNAS box to the other. We're just gonna have to let all that float to another day as soon as all those parts come in. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, even though this was kind of a more boring work log, but let me know if you have any questions about a setup like this. Like I said, a 4-post rack is something that I've wanted in my setup for quite a long time. It just looks more professional, it keeps your gear more organized. It is a little bit more work and a little bit more expensive to run one, especially at home, but I think the payoffs are well worth it for what I do. As for me, I'm gonna go sit down, edit this video, and count down the days until that mini SAS cable comes in, as well as all the rack screws that I need to finish this thing out. So don't feel sorry for me though, I've got plenty of other things to occupy my time with. So thank you so much for watching this one, guys, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Cheers all.